It is 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. Good afternoon, world. It's the Best Boys podcast. I am your host, JP, and Corey. Introduce yourself.
And I am your co-host, Corey, with a story, and we're here to be some best boys, some
BBs.
BBs,
BB guns.
babies.
I didn't even think about that.
I finally got into Death Stranding. Finally, I forced myself to play it because it runs on Kylie's laptop, and while I was stuck at the airport, and I'm back in. Finally, time to finish it.
I saw there's a director's cut coming out. Now I feel like I should
Yeah.
wait.
I'm pissed because I'm about halfway through, and now I don't know what to do.
You want to hear something about? I've been playing that Shin Megami Tensei game, right?
Yeah.
And I found out that there's 3 different versions on the remaster, and one of them has everything that was in the American release, and is not the base one that you play.
Yeah.
So I've been playing the wrong one, and I'm like 9 hours in, and I'm having a crisis to know if I should start over or if I should just fuck it and play it as is. It's not like DLC changes your experience that much, but yeah, I was pretty upset about it. Similar kind of feeling with DLCs and final versions of games in the fucking modern era. But I digress.
Ooh, I lost you there for a second.
Yeah, your quality just got real bad.
Yeah, I don't know.
Your P's went down. You went down a few P's.
Yeah, all I heard was you put 4,000 hours into it.
Okay, no, that doesn't want to happen. I put in 9. I'm not gonna tell. I don't want to tell it all again for the pod, but I put in 9 hours, and I was playing the wrong version without the DLC, and I don't know if I should start over or not. What would you do?
Oh, that's so tough. I mean, I kind of feel like, I feel like I would start over. But
Yeah, I think I want to start over. I feel like I'm
gonna
gonna start over.
I'm not gonna start Death Stranding over, to be honest, because it's like the walking gets a little old after a bit. I hate that it's like, all right, I did this, and now I gotta go all the way back if I want to sleep, and it's another 30 minutes. It's just like, god damn it.
There's a Death Stranding joke in the new Bo Burnham movie thing. Actually, yeah, I think he kills it boring.
I mean, it's not if you're.
No, I know. It was good.
Great. I'm having a good time. It's just.
I'm excited to play it.
Once you get a vehicle, it's good. It's which is pretty early on. You can get one. It makes it a lot better. But there's some things that you can't take a vehicle to, and it's just like, fuck. I have 2,000 more meters to walk through rocks, which is even slower than normal walking.
All right. So, Corey, Mr. Hollywood.
Yeah.
What is there anything going on? Any updates with how was your LA trip? Any how was your shoots? Any hot Entertainment Weekly gossip, TMZ gossip you got for us? Any insider info?
No, I mean we have there's some recording artists featured as a main character this season. You can look out for.
In what for the people?
In Euphoria.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those things where I don't know what I'm allowed to say and not allowed to say, so I'm just gonna say that it was a really fun week and shot some really fun scenes and funny scenes. But yeah, I mean, it's just keep an eye out for next year, I guess.
Cool. I haven't, I'm doing the same shit. No updates here. Watched some good movies this week, though, and I'm excited to talk about them. I figure we should talk about Amélie first. Oops, I forgot. Switch the screen. But I figure we should talk about Amélie first since it's fresh in your mind. So right off the bat, What did you think about it? Because I have plenty of thoughts.
I thought it was really good. It was I initial impressions post watching are the first half is phenomenal, and then the second half I just get at times a little confused by character actions, and I feel like it slows down the pacing a lot. But ultimately, satisfied. Like I get
I
it.
can
You know,
I know exactly what you mean. I know exactly. I didn't think about that, but I know exactly what you mean. Because I was very engaged through the first two acts, and then in the
yeah,
third, I was still into it. It just like yeah, it was weird, and it was like purposely not resolving, and you're kind of just watching, what happens. Like these more scenes essentially.
yeah.
Um, and I think it was good. And that was something I want to talk about later. Um, but yeah, a beautiful film. Some incredible cinematography. I see so much influence in a million things I've watched. Um, Me and Riss just finished Pushing Daisies, the show I think I mentioned it last week, and God, it's the influence of the coloring and the costume and set design and just the use of color. Period. Just the whole vibe. There's narration in the same way. Um, but yeah, great show. I highly recommend Pushing Daisies. But and also we watched Shape of Water last week. I don't. Did you see the parent influence in it?
Yeah, and the lighting for sure.
Well, just like the coloring and the lighting and
Yeah, everything was
the way they use
that
color.
real heavy yellow. Like it's not soft light, but it's not like crazy hard, but it's just pouring in through windows. Tons of greens and like yellow greens and everything. Um, it was one of those. You know what I was surprised by in this movie though was the use of how much special effects. Um, like they're not phenomenal CGI or anything like that, but it's all through it.
Yeah. So those remind. I'm not gonna lie. Every time that happened, it always reminded me of like Scrubs or something because it was like like when there's this random break of reality and you're
Yeah.
like it's like Cutaway in Family Guy or something, um, where you're like getting someone's emotional reaction to something. Um, and obviously this was before all that, really. Um, I guess Scrubs and I guess they were happening at the same time, but I like it was like this random breaks in reality that would happen. Um, I was super duper into it, super duper. Um, yeah. So the use of color, the shots. I did find I wanted to watch it more than once. I did ended up watching it, like kind of half watching it a second time. Just because there was so much to take in visually, and and the editing was pretty quick in the beginning. That sequence in the beginning where it's like talking
Yeah.
about
Oh man, can we talk about the intro of
awesome,
this movie?
awesome,
Yeah, it was so good. I
perfect.
love that it just felt like I love that it started with just being disconnected like people, and then slowly connecting it all
Yeah, like
together.
6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, connecting it to Amelie and everything, and it just like for a bit it was kind of like I didn't feel this way in the beginning, but like towards the end, I was just kind of like, what was the point of all this? But then it's like the whole purpose of that whole first act or so is just explaining why she is the way she is, and her little bits of like, you know, imagination taking over because of not having friends or anything growing up and stuff, and
Yeah, being
just
told to think that it's funny that the through line between Amelie and Minari is the sick kid, the heart condition,
yeah, yeah, that too.
which we'll circle back to later. But that she thinks she has a heart condition and she's not able to um, socialize really. So that's like that explanation for why she has strange social habits as an adult. Um, Yeah, I love that. I love the whole thing in the beginning with the guy committing suicide and falling on the mom.
Oh
And
man, yeah, how awful was that?
yeah. I mean, I see a lot of Wes Anderson influence on Wes Anderson stuff. I mean, unless it's
Yeah,
just like kind of going back and forth, maybe because Royal Tenenbaums is what year is that?
and that is
Isn't it like 2004?
it's early 2000s for sure. Um,
2001. No, it's the same year, so maybe not. But
oh,
maybe it's just that's the
you know
vibe
what's
of the
crazy though?
time.
Being the same year, like obviously one's a French film and one's American, but like the Royal Tenenbaums just seems so much newer. Like watching this movie, it definitely parts of it I felt like I was watching like I felt like I was watching a mid '90s to late '90s movie, but then like the use of the and quality of the CGI that it was being used was like, oh, this is newer than I thought. Like I don't know if you had that kind of feeling with it.
I felt like it was of its time. I haven't seen Royal Tenenbaums in a while. It's on our list of of ones to watch.
I've seen
Um,
a movie like 4 times.
I've seen it so many times, but it's been a while.
Mm.
And it was always on like Comedy Central and shit. Like I would like to see it in its complete raw form. Um, yeah, I love the cafe. Everything with the cafe and the people with the cafe. That was like my favorite part. Was that the creepy guy and the guy likes to get real philosophical, and then the hypochondriac.
The tape
And,
recorder, dude. What a face.
yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Apparently, he's in several of Jean-Pierre Genet's films. And yes, he's got quite a face. I thought the same thing.
His lips are so like he like not like naturally like he's always like pursing them out. That's like he emotes with his lips.
But this film is known for one of the and there's films before it that do this, but it's one of the big ones known for reinforcing the stereotype of the manic pixie dream girl,
Mm-hmm.
because that's essentially what she is pixie dream girl. She's very aloof and very unhappy, and she's like trying to help people throughout wherever she goes, and you think that it's going to work out. Like when they first hook up, I'll explain. There is a kind of a love triangle, I guess, in the restaurant bar, with the lady who sells cigarettes, the hypochondriac, the waitress who hits on customers. At least she's a chiropractic waitress. Like she was like cracking people's necks and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, that was that was just like a quick thing because
It
I
came
mean
back
they
a
said
couple times.
well they said when they introduced it that she likes the sound of like she likes cracking bones, but then like you don't really see it or anything about it, and then just out of nowhere it just cuts to the diner and she's like 1, 2, 3. Honestly,
It's like exactly. It was exactly like a chiropractor. Like she like lines up their head and everything.
yeah.
Um, Yeah, and then so he like thinks that she's hitting on everybody because she like says things or whatever. And it's all this guy's super misogynist, and Amelie tries to fix the situation by having him hook up with the hypochondriac, and it happens, and they bang so
Oh my god,
loud,
that's so funny.
it shakes the whole restaurant,
I,
and you think that it's like,
that's
oh,
what I
Amelie did it. She's just, she
miracle
fixed the
worker.
situation. Yeah, miracle worker. She also helps one-armed boy that gets bullied by his boss at he's like a grocer.
Yeah.
There's a painter with bones of glass, which I thought of Unbreakable, which is a
Yeah.
few years after this. Um,
Oh, that's a good idea for a movie to watch.
it's
Same
on the
with
list.
Split. Mr. Glass. The
I
Rock.
need to see Unbreakable first. I've never seen
You've never
Unbreakable.
seen Unbreakable?
No, it's on the list. I have Split and Unbreakable on the list. I've never seen any of them.
Oh, I've seen them both. They're so
None of the
good.
trilogy. We could just do the trilogy for an episode
Yeah.
sometime.
Yeah.
I plan for that. Yes.
Like
But
Split
yes.
isn't everybody's cup of tea, but like Breakable's phenomenal.
Oh yeah, I know Unbreakable's. I never seen Sixth Sense in entirety. I've only seen
Oh, nice.
Signs, dude. I've only seen Signs in the Happening in the Village.
Oh, you've seen The Happening, but
Yeah.
you haven't
I
seen.
saw I saw the Happening in theaters.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Did
I saw the
did you
Happening
go
in
through like
theaters.
Marky
It
Mark
was on a
phase? I don't
date.
blame you.
No, it was on a date, I think.
Oh, I
Um,
don't blame you. Marky Mark. I mean, he sold me in a lot of movies.
it might have been in a drive-through, but all right. Um, But also, how about the framing around the whole film around the death of Princess Diana?
Yeah, I was like so. It was so weird to me that like I know that people talk about it like it was like obviously we were kids, it's hard to impact, but like our mom was like super affected by it, and like it was just like a
It was a
world
cultural
changing.
phenomenon, and I don't
Yeah,
understand it, but it was a cultural phenomenon.
I
Um,
don't get it either, but the yeah, I don't know, it was like having that be like on the like not in the forefront, but it's like it is a common thing. Probably every 20 minutes, or
people
probably yeah
liked her.
every yeah probably every 20 minutes, her name gets brought up, and
Or she's on the like there's like something on the news about it.
yeah, like
Um,
dude talking about getting ashes, Americans shooting ashes up into space. Do you think that'll happen to Princess Di? The I can't remember, but it kept getting brought up as like I guess it had that big of an impact on people at that time.
um, yeah, yeah. So I figure we should go through the beats. So it gets the movie opens with them going, um, over like how Amélie has formed into this person. And her mom dies, and her father is very like very detached. I would describe him as very aloof and detached. And then he was detached before the mom died, but after the mom died, for some reason, he gets obsessed with building this shrine for the dead mom's ashes. And I don't it doesn't make any sense, but he gets this garden gnome, and Amelie ends up stealing it, and the dad ends up getting pictures throughout the film, of the gnome around the world, and
Yeah.
I
The whole
loved it. I
time,
loved that.
I
I
love
loved
the
it.
gnome thing, but the whole time I'm just like, who the fuck has this gnome? I obviously
It was like a
like
stewardess.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So it made
yes,
sense. You're like, oh my god, like how is she doing
yeah,
this?
but also how is she so connected? And
She's so friendly and nice. Um,
yeah,
I guess.
uh,
Um,
the
and then but then it goes and she starts helping people one at a time. There's like a blind man that she walks through the market and describes everything to the blind man as they're going through.
oh, it was
Um,
that's so hectic. I just felt bad for the blind guy the whole time because it's like she's doing this nice thing, but the way it's cut is making it seem like she's just like sprinting him through, and it's just like there's this, there's that, there's this, there's that. It's just like sensory overload. I don't know.
yeah,
But
no, it's hectic. Like there's like a little bit of,
French,
as much as she's trying to help people, it usually doesn't work out perfectly. Like it doesn't with they bang, but then later on he becomes just a misogynist towards her, and then ends up pining after the chiropractic waitress again. Um, and then with the man, the painter with the glass bones, glass man, and he paints the same painting, Renault's Lunch into the Boating Party, every year, once a year. And he doesn't paint anything else. He just paints this one thing. And that she hooks up with him because they live in the same building. And the whole, I guess I've skipped on that, she finds that box in the wall, and that makes her wants to find the guy who used to live there. So she's like doing these deeds throughout the film, um
yeah, she gets like a euphoric joy out of helping others.
helping others, and then that was like the first one, and that like inspired her to kind of keep chasing that feeling, I guess. But then about like halfway through the film, it becomes more about the love story, with the guy who the art, like I would call him like an artist, I guess, some kind of street artist, that he makes these collages of, like a scrapbook of, photos he finds from, photo booths, with pictures of people.
Yeah,
And I loved the scrapbook. I thought that was a super cool piece. I love the scrapbook. I thought it was super cool. But he like works at a porn shop at the same time.
yeah, it was very interesting. The that like my big thing about this movie was just like it's like she sees the guy or whatever, and then she slowly becomes. Oh, I guess now. Sorry, continue. We'll.
Oh no, yeah, give me what your take is.
Why?
I don't want to
Maybe we
just
get through the
describe
topic
it.
first before we just.
Well, we can
Because
go.
what
I want
I
to go through the beats as we're talking. We should probably talk about them as we're going
yeah,
through
what
the
I was gonna
thing.
say is more towards the end. Has to do with the end. It's just started off with this, but at the same time, it's very
I
vivid.
got you.
Yeah. But the scrap thing was cool. The guy's yeah, it's very obviously he's like an oddball. They said he used to collect pictures of people's shoe prints and handprints in cement.
Yeah, he's
And
very abstract art, like modern art guy. But
I
he's
didn't
very
think it was art. I took it as like a OCD collectionist, like a stamp collector or something.
I think the scrapbook itself, and how he's putting them all back together, it is like that, but it is art. I think. Like I think that scrapbook is like a piece of art. Um, like collecting all that and like the writings and the recording of it. Like yeah, you're right. It is a collection, essentially. Um, but yeah, there's something about it that the logging all these different people and the reactions and the faces and oh yeah, the mysterious man. So like there's this subplot about finding out who this bald man is that is in several of these pictures.
12 of
And
them, I think.
yeah, and they think that he's a ghost or something that's like haunting the photo booths.
Yeah, he's a dead man who's only shows up when his picture's taken. Is what I think Amélie says.
Um, yeah, it's like a subplot and it's kind of a thing, but essentially the latter couple acts of the film are her and him kind of playing this cat and mouse. Well, she's kind of fucking with him essentially. She just keeps on fucking with him for the rest of the movie, and you're like, come on already, like come on, just hook up. And she's just like, no, I'm gonna keep messing with him. And she's like afraid to let. I get that because of like how she grew up. She's afraid to let somebody to get in close. I really.
I was so frustrated this last like 30 minutes of the movie because like, all right, I get the testing the limits to essentially see if he's as quirky as you are for like this kind of stuff. But like by the time he shows up to the diner, has the Zorro picture and is like, "This is you," and I'm just
Oh my
like,
god, the Zorro picture is hilarious. I was
yes.
cracking up.
I'm just like, why? You just at this point, it's just like shit or get off the pot. Oh man, you went through all this trouble just to chicken out. But I guess it was the same time. It was she didn't want to meet him until she connected him with the mystery man that she figured out. Um, but I don't know. And then he even when what's it called? He like shows up at her door at the end, and then she like doesn't open the door, and I'm just like, come on, this is like a multiple opportunity. Although I guess she was a little more devastated when like he left the diner with Gina. Um, so but
Oh yeah. Like she thought that. Yeah, but like I was getting to the point. Like you're kind of fucking with him. Like you might be pushing him away a little bit.
yeah, that's how I felt. It was just like ah.
It's frustrating, but it makes sense. Like, and they establishes the scenes earlier. Like she's had sex before, but she was not really in. She's only had it a couple times. She was never into it. She was never into boyfriends. Like she's a hard time finding intimacy, but for some reason she's drawn to this guy. The guy messing around these photo booths. Yeah, I don't know. It's sweet. It's sweet. I honestly initially felt like the narrative was like kind of basic, but then I just thought about it and realized like that it was like we were just like you said, we were waiting for the plot to resolve. And but then I realized it was just more about these moments with this girl and like this journey, and it was not about getting to that point. It was about these moments. And that's why it took its time, I think. Getting to that point, because it was like, oh yeah, it's gonna happen this time, and then it didn't. Oh my god, how about when she went to first meet him at she found out he works at a haunted house, and for some reason he's in this skull costume, and he like starts like creepily breathing and moaning before he knows who Amélie is.
And touching her face.
touching her
super weird.
face, yeah, weird.
It's super weird. And that one of my frustrations with this movie is just like she says she's fallen in love with this guy, but she knows nothing about him other than he collects ripped up photo booth pictures and works at a porn shop. But she's like in love with him. Knows nothing about this guy other than that. And it's just like it's very interesting. It's very but like also it's I don't know, it was weird. But at the same time, I guess with the kind of like character that she is in the movie, like I guess it makes more sense. But um I guess it's one of those like suspension of disbelief, like because it's all part of like the world and within the film. Um, but it was I at the very towards the end I had one of those like what was the point of all of this kind of moments. But at the end it was like kind of like how you said, or just kind of like you get it. It's I don't know how to put it into words, but it's like I understand like the journey that the 2 hours we went through to get here. Um, but I definitely think that like a little bit too much time fucking with the one neighbor who's mean to the one arm guy.
Oh yeah, there's like 3 or 4. It keeps coming back, and it doesn't really. I
It
felt
was
that didn't
alright
really
though, but
build to anything. Like
it didn't.
at the end, he still worked there, and he still was. She hooked him up. She found out that he's a painter, so she hooked him up with Glassman, to work on his painting, and so he like teaches the Glassman teaches him. Apparently, the actor who plays the Glassman is a classic French actor, a prolific and well-known French actor. I guess while I'm on that subject, I found out in the production of this that originally Amelie was supposed to be played by Emily Watson. If you know, she is, yeah. If you Google her, you know what it is. I guess I can.
Yeah, that name sounds so familiar.
She was in the Chernobyl thing. Did you see Chernobyl?
No, but it is on my list now that I have HBO.
She's in Synecdoche. She's in Synecdoche. Um, she's the
Oh, I know who this is.
she's the second. She plays his wife after the first, or no, she plays the girlfriend.
Yeah, I'm on her IMDb. I know this lady's face. I'm just trying to think of what I've seen her from. Oh, Red Dragon. That's why.
She's in Equilibrium with Christian Bale. She's in ton of stuff. But yeah, Synecdoche, didn't we watched that?
Mm-mm.
You didn't watch Synecdoche in New York with me? Maybe I made I think I made Riss watch that.
Then the Kingsman, Golden Circle.
She's ton of stuff. But apparently she was supposed to do it, but she had trouble speaking French. It was still going to be in complete French.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I feel like going full French actors would probably be the move.
So then they cast Audrey Tautou. I'm not good with my French accent. Audrey Tautou, that's it. And she is in the Angels and Demons and what the fuck's the other one? The Da Vinci Code.
Yeah,
She's in the
that's probably what I mainly know her from.
She's a few years older. She does mostly French films. She's but that's the American movies that I first saw her in. Let me actually.
Warhorse.
Emily Watson or Audrey Tautou?
I'm sorry, Emily Watson.
But yeah, this is a good film. I liked it a lot. I was like, I think I like Shape of Water better than that, even though I mean that I don't know, not that they're direct. I just no, I think I like this better actually as the more I dwelled on it because it's simple, but it's also not. It's like I love the duality of there's like simplicity in it, but it's also complex but it's like aloof and whimsical. But there's this innocence, but it's also perverse and like there's sex and it's it's not afraid to be dirty when it needs to be. Though it could easily have been a children's film without any of that. Yeah, I see the influence in a million things I've seen. I loved it. I think I gave it a 4 initially. What did you give it?
Um, I well before I give my score, I was gonna say I
Oh,
was more
sorry.
satisfied with the Shape of Water's end, like story ending and everything, than this. But I liked the visual presentation of this and the editing and everything, and just way better. Because except for that little like 30-minute lull towards the third act, where I felt like it just kind of dragged for a little bit. But Shape of Water, while I wasn't as like into the pacing, or it felt a little slow at times. I being like I love the lighting, but I like the more cohesive story, I guess, um, out of it. I was more satisfied with the ending, I guess. But I think I like Amelie better overall. And I would give
And
it
I think it's
probably,
meant to be a little more open and like not
yeah.
neatly in a bow. And I mean, it is like they get together. You know that they get like in the very end they hook up, they have sex. Everything's good. Um, but so yeah, I was actually pretty satisfied with the ending. Um, it was like the leading up to it. It was that there was like a couple extra scenes to get to the actual ending.
Yeah, I feel like you could have cut like 15. This could have been an hour 45, and I probably would have been like
But
super.
I think that feeling is meant to happen. Like they're meant. It's like subverting. Like, oh, this is when it's gonna be, and no, this is when it's
even
gonna
just
be.
even just cutting out one of the sequences of fucking with the dude, because I just started feeling bad for the dude at that point. I just thought she was going a little like he's this guy's clearly like not a happy man, and you're just making his angry life more miserable. Um, but and like obviously he deserved it at first, but then I don't know. You can cut out like the last time she goes to fuck with him and just even save that 5 minutes.
I felt that way too, but then I think the more I dwelled on it, I appreciated that more. Um, but I understand that take. All right. Well, what are you giving it?
I give it a 4. I'd give it a 4.
4, solid 4. Four
Yeah,
is all around. 4 score.
yeah. Giving it, yeah.
Cool.
The it's on my upper echelon of movies that I like, but it definitely wasn't like the greatest thing I've ever seen.
I think the score and the cinematography is like 5 out of 5. Like
Oh, it's really good. I
like
love
like this the
the
aesthetic. It is created an
yeah.
aesthetic. It's an invented, or not maybe invented, but it's yeah. Like I think the Grand Budapest Hotel maybe has some in
I still love the voiceover narration for all the little like un like giving yourself these
I've
mini
seen
like
that
what
thing so many times since
yeah,
then.
but it's like giving you this little 5 second like character dump of just who this person is real quick
It's
before
very
they become the
brief.
person. And but I like that because it's just like, all
Yeah,
right, cool, this is the story.
I
He
like
gets
it
to
too.
pick apart rotisserie chickens with his hands. It's sick.
Yeah, the aesthetic and influence and style. It's just nothing but style. Not nothing but style, but it's so much style. It oozes style, and you see that permeate a lot of indie and American films or films all over since then. So even if I don't think as a film I wouldn't give it a 5 out of 5, I think that it is importance and like influence and like elements of it are perfect.
Yeah.
There's a lot of it that is it's flawlessly put together in terms of aesthetic for me. So that does give it a little bit of a boost. So I would be totally fine if someone gave it a 4.5 or even a 5. But I think my initial reaction is a 4. But I definitely, even though I gave Shape of Water a 4, I would put this above that if I ranked them. Not that we're comparing everything.
No, I put this above Shape of Water as well. By a little bit, but yeah, definitely. I had more points where I enjoyed it overall, where Shape of Water, I don't I still can't explain properly like the I don't want to call it disappointment, but I just went in expecting something else.
You just didn't know what you were getting.
Yeah, like I like to go into movies blind,
I definitely felt that
spoiler
same
free
way
Shape
the
of Water.
first time I watched it. I think second time you see that, I think you maybe would now once you know what you're getting that you could
Yeah, I'd probably appreciate
and
it a lot
appreciate
more.
it a lot more. I feel that way about this. That I feel like I would watch. I would like this. I would like to watch this multiple times, and really because there's so much to take in with how fast that's the intro is, and especially not being a native French speaker.
Oh,
Um,
I had a hard time keeping up with the subtitles in the first half.
yes, that's what I mean. That's what I
It
mean.
was
Like
it
I
was
think
hard
there's
to like
so much
enjoy the
to.
visual at the same time.
I think it's a movie that you need to watch more than once to really take in all the even because like you're either looking at all the visuals and you're missing some of the dialogue, or you're catching all the dialogue and you're missing so much of the beautiful use of color, and costume sets and everything. Yeah, loved it, loved it. All right, but I'll tell you something I liked even more.
Was it
Minari.
Minari?
It was Minari.
Oh my God. Yeah, can I just say real quick that this is probably the best movie I've seen all year, and probably the best movie I've seen last year, that I can recall at least. I was just fucking in all about Korean American family moving to Arkansas.
Oh, all American tale, all fucking American as you could be. Like this is an American ass story. And I know that like I was in reading in. I like to read some other people's readings of things before I do the show. Um, and someone said that like Oscars love all American tales. And I guess, and I realized that that's true. No, was No Man Land? Would you consider that? You've seen that, right? Would you
Yeah,
consider
I've
that an
seen
all
that. Yeah.
American tale, or what is
In
it
a different
about,
way,
really?
yeah. It's about this lady who is I can't remember why she gets into this thing, but she's a nomad. She doesn't like living in one spot. She lives out of a camper, and and it's essentially the director just following her around, just living her life. And along the way, she gets linked up with these different like all other like Winnebago commune things, and like she'll stay for a little bit and then leave and try to find another place. And she like meets a guy that seems like he's like you'd want to she'd want to like maybe like go back to a normal life with, and still just chooses to just stay out on the road, just keep moving. Um,
Yeah,
it's good.
yeah, just quick thing. I'm because I was curious because like that makes sense because that sounds pretty American centric.
It gets
Fl-
slow towards the last act. Like the second half is really slow. Not the second, the last. It's the same thing like kind of with this. The last like 20 minutes or so is it gets real slow. But it's good. I liked it.
okay, all right. Well, I would like to do that for the show at some point because
Yeah.
I want to see it.
But
No,
Minari, shit
Minari,
ton.
excellent. Really, yeah. I think this
Yeah.
was
Oh,
awesome.
hands down.
I
This
think
is
this is awesome.
this is
I
the best movie I've seen in a long time.
There's a lot that resonates about this story to me. With the little boy. Obviously, you mentioned that he has a heart issue, a
Murmur.
heart murmur of some kind, and it's scaring. It scares the family, and then he's not allowed to really exert himself, because if he does, he could die. And as just to be a quick glimpse of my background, I had aplastic anemia as a little kid, which is not as big of a deal or anything. But I wasn't allowed to participate in sports or play outside and things like that because if I fell and got a bruise, I would die. So I was obviously very attached to David's story, here alone. But on top of that, because that wasn't really even the main thing, it's just this farm. That Stephen Yoon, famously of The Walking Dead, Glenn from The Walking Dead, is excellent in this. Didn't
I
know
didn't
that
even
he's
realize it was him until the end of the movie.
well, he speaks Korean so well, and I'm sure that a native Korean speaker might, because I'm pretty sure he's American. He's from the U.S.
Or he might have grown up like learning it from his parents.
Well, yeah, of
I don't know.
course, but if like accent wise, I'm sure a native
Yeah.
speaker might say differently. But as someone who has no idea, he was great. Um, and I did not realize because I thought he was in it. I didn't expect. Oh, actually, he was born. It says he was born in Seoul. I don't know how long he lived there, but he moved to Saskatchewan in 1988. I have his Wikipedia up.
Canada.
Yeah,
Wow.
and then moved to Michigan in for high school. So he's got a little everything. So, but yeah, he was great. Obviously everyone was great. The grandmother was
Oh my god, it was
amazing.
hilarious.
What an amazing performance all
I
around.
love the relationship from the little boy's performance was phenomenal. Like how
Yeah,
he was able to
yeah.
go like the two language. He looked like he was like 4, and he's it was still able to go back and forth in the languages so seamlessly, and like everything just it was so good. It was I love their relationship. That's the buddy cop movie I need to see.
Yeah, David and his grandmother. And that's really is like that's the main focus of the movie, I would say. I mean, there's the farm and what's going on with the wife, um, Stephen Ewan's character, and the farm. And then these two things, and then obviously the health of the boy. But then what happens is I mean, the probably the middle of the movie, or right after the middle of the movie, is the grandmother has a stroke, and is not the
Oh
same. Is
man,
not.
was that fucking
Yeah, it
sad?
was so
Oh,
sad,
was that sad? I
and
was so mad.
it
Um,
was.
I just
Um,
wanted more. I wanted more of the kid and the grandma. They were finally like
I
getting
knew
along.
they were
They
building
finally,
up to something.
yeah,
That's
they
some.
cuddled for the first time. And I thought the kid was gonna die. To be honest, I thought that was gonna be it was one of those movies where it seemed like, oh, this is just setting up for like a sad kid ending. Um, but little do you know,
Yeah,
little
I was
does
like,
it
it's
surprises
building.
you that it's a sad Stephen Yeun ending.
Well, it's like me and Riss were like, this is building up to before the grandmother had a stroke. It's like this is building up to something. Either something's gonna happen with David, or something's gonna happen with the grandma. And yep, the grandma had the stroke, and so then they had to take care of her as well. And kind of the roles kind of reversed. People were taking care of David, and then David and the sister, God bless her,
Yeah,
had so much on her shoulders, especially after the grandma left, or wasn't not left, had a
yeah,
stroke. She's still, and like the grandma was coming too later and later, but just as the farm was taking off, things go bad in the end of the movie, and it's sad. It's a roller coaster, but I would say it was predictable a little bit. I did
really.
see where it was going. Um, yeah, me and Risp called out that something was gonna happen to the grandma or David, and then we are like, as soon as she saw like, the grandma making a fire, she's like, she's gonna burn down all the crops, and then it happened.
Yeah,
Um,
well, I would say it's predictable in that sense, but like leading up to that point, I didn't know that that's where it was gonna happen.
I was
Like I
worried
thought
about them leaving her at home
I
alone.
thought the grandma was just gonna die at home, like, and like not all of the crops specifically getting burned and ruining David's shit. But I will say real quick, speaking about the sister, do you think that it was conveyed enough about how much shit she's essentially doing? Because she gets the least amount of screen time in the movie, and
She does, but I think that's like that's almost that is a good point, but it is obvious that she's watching David a
looking
lot
for them
throughout
in
the
the shit the
day.
whole time.
Yeah, she's watching David throughout the day while both parents go to work. They are what's called chicken sexers, and um so while Stephen Yeun's character is building the farm, him and the wife work as, and I should look up their names actually, and stop calling them Stephen Yeun and the
Okay.
wife,
Oh, his name's
Monica and
her character,
Jacob. Yeah,
Monica and
Monica and
Jacob.
Jacob. So Monica and Jacob work at this farm, and they organize chickens by sex, and the men get slaughtered, and the females um get raised to be chickens to be then eaten or lay eggs. Um, and so it's like it's this weird culture that I'm not familiar with, but she doesn't want to. She didn't want to move to Arkansas. That's where they moved to. They live in a trailer. She was there from California,
Yeah.
and yeah, she's not into the farm idea, and it seems like Stephen Yeun's character kind of misled her a little bit to get to this point. But now that they're there, she's kind of really been making it hard on it. She's skeptical, and as soon as something happens with grandma, she wants to go back, and which is kind of understandable. But there's a lot of tension, and she's not Break Toy 1982. Thank you for the follow. She doesn't um she doesn't see how good that the farm is doing, and like it's actually gonna happen if she just has a little patience. And even if it fails, like it's only there. It gets to this point where they're about to find out if it's gonna happen or not, and then, but that's it. Like it's too late. It's like you just wait another week and see what happens. So that was my only gripe, was with her Monica's character, and I kind of didn't understand some of her choices in the third act. At that point,
I understood. It's like the
just
it. She felt that
it was right after they found out about David. Like everything's fine with David, and everything's gonna be fine with the crops, and she still wanted to go back.
Oh, it's because she said it, like, because in that moment, when they got to the doctor's office, he was more concerned about his crops being left in the hot car and getting ruined than he was about making.
But that, like, those crops were gonna be like, if they look bad and that guy doesn't buy them, then they're fucked.
Oh, I get that, but I'm saying, like, in her perspective, it's like you didn't put your family first, like you didn't put your son's life first.
Yeah.
They're gonna be.
I guess,
then,
yeah.
That's how you're always, like, if this is how you're gonna be now, where this is a life-threatening thing, how are you gonna be, like, is this how you're always going to be?
But it's just like they need money, like
through in their time and all that stuff. Well, the grandma gave her money to move back to California. So.
Well, yeah, her money, but like the farm, like, and the farm was gonna give them money, you know, how they were gonna flourish.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I had some. That was my only like gripes with it. Really, is the ending and that. But loved it. The church stuff was really I was like worried about. I kept thinking that something racist was gonna happen the entire movie, and it.
I was gonna say, I was so refreshed that we didn't have that we got, like, foreigners coming to America thing that wasn't
framed around that.
Yeah.
Or even it's not even an element, really.
No, not at all. And everyone's super nice to them. Everyone is super helpful.
Me and Riss were talking about that. Cause like, with like church, we were both raised in church to a degree, and when you go to a church that's all white and you're not white, if you're a member of the church, they're pretty cool to you. But they're also going to be voting against your interests. And they're actively, voting against your self-interest. But that it's not the same. Like, I could see that being a thing. Like, especially out there, like people were more helpful, or more hospitable to a degree, because there's not a lot of people out there. But yeah, I loved it. Thought it was great.
How did you feel about the final, like the actual ending, where it's just like the grandma?
Oh yeah, so me and Riz talked about this for a while. So the ending. So there's a subplot. The name of the movie, Minari, is named after a plant and a food. It's some Korean plant that has multiple uses. You can use it for food, you can use it for medicine. This wonder plant, that's what the grandma keeps saying. And Jacob poo-poos her when she brings it up, so she just plants it on her own. And apparently it's a plant that doesn't need a lot of tending to. If you plant it in the right place, it can flourish. And I actually found this out after, but I guess it's a plant that actually grows better once it dies and then grows again, like from the cycle of renewal, and kind of just like how they started over to come to Arkansas, and then the fire happens and takes away everything, but they end up being all right in the end, thanks to, and as much as the grandma burned shit down, she also planted the Minari that was enabled. It's a little open. The ending, just to describe it, kind of ends abruptly. I did not expect it to end. I was so into it, I did not check the time very much in this movie. And it just was like, oh fuck. Like I thought they were going to play this out a little more, and they kind of left it open to your interpretation. Like, how did it happen? Did they? Did they? You know, it seemed by Jacob's body language, it seems like everything's working out. Like he doesn't seem stressed about it while talking to David. He's happy, and he's like, Grandma knew what she was doing. And they did salvage apparently some of it, some of the food from the fire also. I think that was indicated, but it wasn't really clear. But I liked it.
I just took it as like, well, at least we have this. We'll try to sell it because it doesn't really tell you if there's like a time skip at all. But I want to say I really enjoyed that the not only were they like obviously they were starting over again because everything burned down, but the going back to like all five of them sleeping on the floor of the trailer together.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I thought that was cool.
Well, Jacob said that when they first moved in, we should all sleep together in the living room on the first night, and the Monica poo pooed it. It comes up a couple times, and then they finally do it in the end.
I think they did it in the beginning, like when they first got there.
Oh, I thought they didn't do it. I thought they didn't do that because he said it, but they didn't. Oh, maybe they did, and then it was the cycle, or
Yeah,
like the loop.
it was like a you know, it's like it's the symbolism of starting over again. But no, I liked it a lot. Yeah, I agree that the ending did just kind of it felt abrupt when it just cut and the credits rolled, but the overall I was still satisfied by it. It was definitely a roller coaster. I never got to a point where it made me feel like I was gonna cry or anything, but I just was engaged the entire time. I just loved I loved the acting, the dialogue delivery was just so good, and the relationship just felt like super real. It's very much just the like neither of them understanding what the other one is trying to like where they're coming from and trying to do or like what their end goals are, and but like both feel selfless but both are being selfish in ways. It was I just loved it. And then the David and the grandma was just so. I love that when she teaches him the like the gambling card game thing, and then he teaches it to
To
the
that
church kid,
kid, yeah,
and he's just
yeah.
like, "Out of my way, bastard!" Like I thought that was so funny.
Yep. It's so cute. I feel this movie was so well paced because it's it's definitely slower, but you don't care because you're really enjoying these intimate moments of this family, and like they're struggling, but there's also so much like warmth and love. And like initially David, the grandson, doesn't like the grandma because it's the first time he met her, and she's coming to live with him. And but as the film goes on, they develop this bond, and they become really good, really close. And yeah, it's sad. It's sad, but it's happy. It's got everything you want in a good movie. It's so, like I said, so well paced. I was never bored. I was never wanted to check the time. In the quietest, slowest moments, I was just I was just here. I was just enjoying it, immersed in this experience. Loved it. I know I keep saying that, but man, it blew me away. And I'm really interested. The cinematography was beautiful. These long, big shots of Arkansas. Oh, can we talk about? We haven't talked about this yet. We haven't talked about Will Patton's character, Paul.
Oh my gosh, just about to ask who's your favorite character because mine was definitely Paul.
David is mine. But Paul was wild as fuck. Wild as fuck. And Will Patton, you may know, isn't he in Armageddon? And
I can't remember.
Yeah, he's in Armageddon.
In this movie, I couldn't.
Oh my god, this is it's maybe the best performance I've ever seen him. And he's in Remember the Titans. He's the white coach in Remember the Titans.
Okay.
Yeah, Armageddon, Remember the Titans, Gone in 60 Seconds are the movies I know him the most from. He's in the first Punisher.
Thomas Jane one, or the Dolph Lundgren one.
The Thomas Jane one. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so good. Oh
so good.
When he's just driving past, and he's dragging the cross, and he's like, "This is my church. Happy Sunday."
Yeah. Oh my god, his skin is scorched because he works in the sun all day with farming and shit, and then he's doing that on the weekends. What an amazing performance! He's casting Christian spells everywhere he goes and speaking in tongues.
The tongues
and
were the best part. part.
That's what made this that honestly his character is what made this such a good, like it was like a reverse cultural, like so it's like an American goes to some other land
Yeah.
and they have like a shaman or something, or like some mystic of some kind doing these similar things, speaking what seems to be gibberish, casting spells, doing these customs. And to Jacob's character, he's just like, I don't want no part of this. Like he's humoring him because he's a kind man and he's a good man, but he definitely doesn't encourage it at all. It's like it's like the reverse of that, of being in a new alien culture to you. um it just seems like the exact same thing.
Yeah, I was very. It's like instead of like like they have it where you go like to China and then you have like um Tibetan monks and shit like that. But in this is Paul.
But it's like the
Well,
crazy
yeah,
superstitious
yeah, yeah. That's what I'm
guy.
saying. Like it's just like,
Yeah. Like he's
good.
banging on pots and pans and shit.
Yeah. But at the same time, you just like I had nothing but just like love and empathy for Paul. And I wish Jacob was nicer to him. But
There's a
I guess it's a cultural thing too. Compliments is probably like just saying good job is probably like a big thing.
Yes, yes, yes. And when like there's a line from a kid on a bus that's like, "Yeah, I heard that guy shits in a bucket and has a dirt floor," and everyone's laughing. And they flip him off through the
Yeah.
window. Uh, um, but yeah, he's a good guy, and he's really kind to this family. Um, I mean, they're paying him to work, but it's a good relationship, and he believes in the farm,
Yeah.
and he definitely um helps the farm be what it ends up being. Yeah, he was a really good character in the movie. Loved him as well. Um, yeah, apparently the woman who plays the grandmother is a really famous Korean actress. Um,
Yeah, because she's
and
from North Korea originally.
really,
Yeah.
wow.
Callie was looking up the cast last night. Um, the
Yeah, she was so good.
Yeah, she was so funny. She's just I don't know, the dynamic between David and her was just so good. I would watch this again. I
Absolutely.
really so far none of the movies we've seen have I wanted to like immediately rewatch, but this one was just it's
Uh,
so good. And then cinematography wise, it's so clean. Everything was just
it's
like
very
nothing
clean.
was gritty, nothing was too harsh. All the highlights in this movie were just like you could see the sky perfectly.
And like
Um,
the coloring wasn't like super vivid. It was like
yeah,
it wasn't muted, but it wasn't super vivid. I don't know. It kind of fit the grain and the grass. Like it was. It made it this texture.
yeah.
All the grain and grass everywhere. Um, I don't know. Loved it. Do you have any other points you want to hit on with Minari before we
Me?
drop these scores down?
Trying to think. We went through everything that I wanted to talk about. Um, hmm. I don't know.
Yeah.
What about you? I think
Nope.
we touched on all of
No,
it.
I think I got most of it. Just great film. American Dream film. And it's made the director Lee Isaac Chung, who I'm not too familiar, wasn't too familiar with before this. And he's a South Korean American. Um, and yeah, I'm interested to see what happened, what he does next.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely looking forward to it. This is I'm starting to get more and more now why Dad keeps pushing me to watch more Korean movies.
yeah, I was thinking about this. That's a good thing to bring up. Is Korean culture has really begun to be a thing, and so many elements and in our pop culture now today. The last 5 years, since Psy, honestly, since fucking Gangnam Style, and K-pop's been a thing like in the underground, but now K-pop's like a mainstream thing. Yeah, because of BTS. Yeah, now K-pop's mainstream, and all these Korean films with Bong Joon Ho, and with Parasite, and that's on our list as well. Several Korean filmmakers and films are on our list. And that, and you know who else I was thinking about? What other culture has really stepped into the world stage is New Zealand. Taika Waititi, and Lord is from New Zealand. And the Flight of the Conchords and Rhys Darby, and there's several actors and actresses that I see. And did you see Soul?
No, I haven't seen Soul yet.
We can put that on the list. I didn't put it on the list, but we can put it because it's very good. There's an actress that's in several Taika Waititi's movies, and she was in Soul, and she was really funny. And I just think about that. I'm exposed to so much more New Zealand and people from New Zealand, and in Korean culture in the last 5 to 10 years. Usually it's just English shit and English stuff and Japanese stuff and whatnot. There's even like an anime. That's another thing with Korean, and Korean animes became a thing. I forget the name of it. It's like the God of High School or whatever. I think that.
I watched half of the first season of that with my old roommate, and it was.
Or no,
it was
maybe I'm thinking of Tower of God. Maybe I'm thinking of that. One of those is Korean. Hold on.
I think one of those also was like a web comic first.
Tower of God is Korean. Let's see. Yeah, Tower of God is the web comic. God of High School. They're both. Tower of God's better. Yeah, they're both Korean. Nice. So yeah, like there's multiple Korean animes. Webtoons have really become almost pretty legit medium in the manga world, in the comics world, which is definitely a Korean thing. I feel like originally, but yeah. I think it's super cool. I think this is the cool stuff that comes from globalization and people being more open to different, the subtitle, watching things with subtitles, or waiting for translated things. And yeah, it's cool. It's cool. What do you give? So back to Minari. What do you give it?
I give it a 5 out of 5, to be honest.
Oh my god!
It's definitely my current reigning king.
I gave it a 4.5. 4.5 only because, and I have no arguments with a 5 whatsoever. It's just because I predicted some of the beats too well. But I would be fine with a 5, and if I honestly watched it again, I might think it's a 5. So, and that's why I feel like Amélie I thought it was a 4, but I could honestly bump it up to a 4.5, maybe. If I watched it again, fully. But yeah, excellent film. Loved it. Highly recommend it. Do you think it should have won an Oscar? What
did it lose out to last year?
It wasn't Nomadland, was it?
I thought Nomadland came out.
Nomadland was nominated for the Oscar this year with Minari.
Oh, then yes. I thought this should have beat Nomadland.
What was that movie with Anthony Hopkins? Or no, he won Best Actor. That's what it was. But Nomadland won Best Oscar, I think.
Yeah, it won Best Picture.
Yeah, it was the same thing. Nomadland also.
Wow, yeah, I didn't see it on Hulu until this year, so I thought it came out this year.
It came out. It's because everything's all fucked up because of releases during COVID.
Yeah.
So yeah, you think it's better than that? I saw Judas and the Black Messiah. That was one nominated, but
I want to see that.
It's good. We can watch it again. I'm down to watch anything again.
I want to see that. I need to see Black Klansman still.
I've seen that. I put it on the list. There's some classic Spike Lee though I want to see before I watch that again. Um,
The isn't Chloe Zhao doing? Didn't she do? Isn't she doing Eternals
I
for Marvel?
I think so.
Yeah, that's nuts. Cause
That's who directed No Man Land.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The Frances McDormand's performance in Nomadland is phenomenal. It's the best part of the movie.
Yeah, she is doing Eternals. It's this year. She did Eternals.
That's wild, because that means that because I thought that this was her movie that like blew her up, but they've been working on Eternals for a couple years now. So she must have had something that landed her Eternals.
All right. I'm excited. You got to make your letterbox. Did you do that yet?
No, not yet. I've just been running around like crazy.
Yeah, do that. And so let's talk about what is there anything else you want to talk about with Amelie or Minari before we move on to post or not post show but wrapping things up and talking about next week?
All right. What do you? Is it my pick? My pick, right?
I said I asked you if there's anything else you wanted to say about the movies before we move on.
Oh no. I'm
Okay.
good. Sorry.
Yeah, let's talk about
I
what we
was
want to do
on
for next week.
IMDb looking up Chloe Zhao.
Let's talk about what we want to do.
All right. I was. Oh shit! Earlier in the podcast, we mentioned a movie that I was just like, oh, I'm 100% down to see, and the what the fuck was it called? I can't remember it. Oh well. But
We talked about a bunch of movies you wanted to see.
I know it was in the beginning. I was like, oh, that'd be a great pick.
Well, I've executively decided that Bo Burnham's Inside is going to be one of them. I've already watched it twice. I've listened to the album also. It's a stand up special, but it's not a stand up special. It's really this
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's like
I've read into it.
it's like a
I saw the
documentary film comedy sketch. It's a bunch of things in one, and I think it qualifies. I'm not saying it needs to be viewed as like a fancy art film, but I think that should be, while it's relevant, like Army of the Dead. Like we should try to hop onto things while they're relevant. And since this is like, I told you I didn't like Bo Burnham. Other than that,
yeah.
but that movie Eighth Grade is what opened my mind to him, because it's like eighth grade. A24 is supposed to be one of the better ones, and I watched that movie and it was very good. You'd like it. It's on the list.
Yeah, I still need to see Eighth Grade.
It's on the list.
I'm trying to pull up the list right now. I'm trying to log into my Facebook.
I'm trying to find it myself. Best boys movie list. I need to invite you as an editor. What's your email? Oh, you don't have to say it. You don't have to say it on the stream. Hold on. I know what it is. I heard what you were gonna say. I know what it is.
Starts with a T.
Yeah, I know what it is. And don't feel like it just be, I honestly, some directors that I knew we needed to sample, I just kind of picked a random film sometimes. So if there's like a film you want to see from a director that you see on the list, just say it and I'll replace something or add it. But honestly, it's pretty thorough. It's pretty thorough. I tried to group the selections of specific auteurs together, and then I have just like random films that I've been researching. Like films. It's like a mixture of film school films and then like cultural touchstone blockbuster, and I want all that stuff.
Yeah.
You know who I'm missing is Michael Bay. Indie films.
It's blowing. Or not blowing. It's pissing me off that I can't remember what movie we were talking about. I should have wrote it down. It was just mentioned at a glance a little bit ago, or at the beginning of the podcast.
Well, it's like you're on the spot right now. I just like to decide before the show ends so that anyone listening can prepare with us if they want to watch it with us. And I'll post it if you don't exactly know, because at least they know we're gonna do Bo Burnham.
All right, I got the list up. I'm seeing if it's on here.
At least maybe a director will jar you. We talked about Taika Waititi. We talked about.
Oh, it was right in the beginning.
You should write it down. We need to take thorough
Well,
notes.
I think that honestly, if we're doing the Bo Burnham thing next week, why don't we just do 8th grade as well and just make it a Burnham to see where he's come?
Burnham.
8th grade.
If you want to, I'm down with that. I'm down with that.
I feel like it makes sense to make a theme.
It's your pick though, so if there's something that you're dying to see, like don't make it something that like you talked about Black Klansman. You talked about.
I mean, I'd be down to see that.
You talked about
the very beginning. He just said it, and I said, "Oh, I want to do that. I need to remember that."
Was it something I saw or something I've seen? Right? I was talking about something I compared it to, or this reminded me of this.
I think so.
It wasn't Wes Anderson, right?
No, I've seen most of his movies.
All right. Well, you can always go back and re-listen to the episode. I don't want to rehash it too much.
I can just do that.
So all right. Well, at least just say Bo Burnham Inside, possibly 8th grade. And if not, Corey will make an executive decision about something else.
Yeah. We'll get it. Yeah, I'll just look it up in the beginning. Oh, yeah, I wanted to do Mr. Glass. That was it.
Oh my God, Shyamalan.
Yeah, that was it. I wanted to see Mr. Glass because I've seen the Unbreakable and Split, and I've been dying.
Well, yeah. See, that's why I talked it away because I was like, well, we should do an episode. We should do the trilogy for an episode.
Yeah. All right. Well, then in that case, let's just do 8th grade and then make a theme out of it.
All right. There we go. Done with that. It's awesome. Do you want to watch Disney's Cruella?
No.
I don't either. I don't either.
I've got enough way better Pixar movies that I haven't seen to catch up on before I get into anything like that. Fucking Cruella DeVille.
Cruella DeVille.
R-rated version where it's just her murdering dogs. I don't think I'm in it. Do it. Could you imagine if they did that though? If Cruella was just like dog snuff film, like Hostel but dogs.
All right. I think we can wrap it up here. On that note,
no dog hostel.
No dog hostel. Did you see Eli Roth is on the list? Is that what inspired you to say that?
Oh yeah, I'm thinking about gritty R-rated
dog hostel. Dog hostel. I'm in. I've never seen Hostel.
Oh man, I've only seen the first one. But it's just one of those gore porn movies. It's just it's just all about the torture.
Well, do we want to touch quick base about this awesome list that I made?
Sure.
Have you reviewed? Is this the first time you've looked at it?
No. You sent me this a while ago.
Well, I appreciate that. Well, I've added a lot to it, and I've filled in some more of the information. I added Lloyd Kaufman for some trauma movies. You know what I'm talking about? Like Toxic Avenger and shit.
Yeah. Oh, I've seen the first 2 or 3 Toxic Avengers.
Oh, we should do some Ed Wood. We should add some Ed Wood movies.
Ed Wood. Why does that sound so familiar?
It's a Tim Burton movie, but it's about this guy who's famous for making really bad B movies.
Just walk away.
Walk away. Walk away. We can watch Xavier for an episode.
I haven't seen. You know, it'd be a good one too. Dogma. I haven't seen Dogma in ages.
Neil Breen.
Oh, isn't that the guy who just makes nothing but bad, like real bad, low budget movies?
Yeah, I'm adding them to the list.
Sick.
Oh yeah, The Room. We should definitely add The Room to the list. It's horrible. Honestly, I don't want to watch it again anytime soon. So it's not going to come up soon, but it should be on the list. Yeah. All right, I think that's good. We can wrap it up. Eventually, I feel like maybe we should give people access to our lists for suggestions.
Yeah.
Um,
Do like a poll system.
yeah, we could do polls. I mean, like, oh, here's a couple that we don't know. What do you want us to do? But we got it all. But all right, let's wrap it up. My name's JP, aka Slob Thomas. And he is
Corey with a story.
that face. That's his name on Instagram. He doesn't. Corey, you need to get Twitter too. I feel like I might have to, even if you don't use it, at least something I can tag. And yeah, I'm Slob Thomas on everything. I got a letterbox, and we'll be back next week with let my box.
Hey guys, I got a letterbox.
Hey guys, it's open. And yeah, got one of those, and I'll see you next week with apparently Bo Burnham Inside and 8th grade. And yeah, it's been fun.
Pandora's letterbox coming at you.
Bye.
Later, guys.